What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Bill and we are continuing right where we left off. I just walked in from finishing up the last video, finishing up getting the lift installed, and came in, washed my face, washed my hands, and then now the UPS man is driving away and we got more boxes. Alright, and as expected, what showed up were lights. Bunch of lights. Now, here we've got the light bar that's going to go across the top. It is the Radiance Plus curved light bar. And it has some backlight colors, and what that means is not only does it light up big and bright like it does, there's some backlighting on it too, which we'll show. Same with that. Then I have a bunch of these little lights, and I thought for sure this was a mistake. Obviously I ordered the wrong thing. That's not the right thing, but these things are super bright and they do fit perfectly, and those are what's going to fit here in the bumpers. We got two spots perfectly for them, so we got 4 on here on the front and then 2 for the back. And then we've got some new ditch lights. Not that there's anything wrong with these diode dynamic ditch lights, they've been awesome. So it's uniform all the way across. We went all rigid lights. And so we're changing out the ditch lights with these round, rigid 360, I think they're called, yeah, 360 series round. And these are also backlit. Let me show you what I mean with the backlit real quick. Here, with the wiring harness, we actually got 3 wires instead of 2. So there's the black, which is the ground, but then there's a red wire and a white wire. So we do red, the whole light lights up, but then if we do white, it's just a little bit of backlight, and just a little bit of backlighting there. See the difference? Off and on. So it's not shining, it's just kind of illuminating. It's backlighting. So you can get that in different colors. We just went with the white. It's more dramatic with the big light bar. Now if we hook up the white wire, there you see the backlighting. Still, it's decent. It'll definitely get you noticed. And we just got the white backlights, but you can get that in several different colors. I think it was blue, red, green, or amber. Which probably, if I would have thought about it, amber might have been pretty cool to do. But yeah, it might have been cool to do amber backlighting, but we just went with bright white. And this little battery tender, I can't even do the whole lights. It'll come on for just a second here, but then it trips the battery tender. That thing is super bright. So that's the lights that we had to put on. Everything should be pretty simple. Jesus, let go of me. Now, first thing to do the light bar on the front, we've got some mounts from our friends at Bodyguard. We're going to remove these accessory caps. We're going to be putting these Bodyguard mounts on there, and then putting the lights on there. So it looks like we've got a couple of squares on here, which normally means we've got to put some of those clip-in nuts on there. So here and here, which I really like, because these actually have a little bit of a cover on them, so you don't see the mounting hardware or anything. It's, well, you have the 2 screws there, but it looks like an actual solid piece that's mounted on there. I've seen a couple of light mounts so far for the Bronco, and it's just a flat piece of metal that's been bent, so you can see the nuts sticking out, and it doesn't look very good. It doesn't look complete, you know, because you can see the nuts, you can see the metal bent out, and it just doesn't fill in the space. These seem like they're going to fill everything up a bit more, look a bit more complete. Hopefully, we'll see. But it seems like that's going to be what happens. I mean, that to me, right there, looks a lot better than just a flat piece of metal bent up with bolts sticking out of it that's recessed below the rest of the body lines. To take these off, there's just a little clip there, and it pulls right off. There's 2 10mm bolts, and so we're going to take those bolts off and then this plastic piece off, which we'll just keep with this. So let me grab a 10mm and we'll get that taken off of there. This piece of plastic pulls right off of there, and we can just snap that back together. Probably throw that in the glove box or somewhere where we could keep an eye on that and try not to lose it. So if we ever do decide to take the light bar off, we have that cap that we can put back on there and retain the hardware that we got. Yeah, that's what it looks like with the cap off. Do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll start putting things back together. Alright, so like I said, there's the squares, so we snap the little nuts in there. And then we could come up here, set our bracket into place, and put our nuts on there, but I'm not going to tighten them up yet. Just going to get them on there, snug them up a little bit. But I want to leave some play in that. And both of them, we'll get both of them installed, leave them a little bit loose so we can get the light bar in there in case we got to make any adjustments on that. Then once we get the light bar in place, we can tighten that down. Alright, so if it's sitting right side up with the words rigid, everything right side up, this actually puts the wiring harness on the driver's side. Now, if you're going to use the pre-run wire for up here, that's actually on the passenger side. So I'm not sure. I'm going to imagine you could probably take this all apart, take all these fasteners out, and swap those sides around, so then that it would be facing the right side up if you flipped it. However, I'm going to go ahead and keep this on the right hand side because I need to run a second wire anyway for the backlit. So it's not just running the one wire or connecting to the one already run wire, which I'm not sure how thick that is, but it needs to be a pretty good wire for this light bar. And then I still need to run a second wire anyway for the backlighting. So I'm going to just go ahead and keep it as it is on the right hand side and figure out how to run the wires down from there, which I think I got figured out. So we'll just go ahead and get this kind of into place for right now. And how these mounts work, it's got a spot for 2 bolts here, and it's got two spots for two bolts right there, and they're going to go in there. And then it's just got a little plastic piece here. It goes over top of those screws and should just snap into place. There we go. So that's nice and neat. And then this is going to go through our mounts, and then we'll put the washers and bolts on that. So let's go see if we can't get this stuck in there and hung up there, and see how it looks. Yeah, so that's that's pretty mean looking. Aim it up some. Aim it up a bit and get everything tightened down. That's aimed all the way up. Is that going to be too up? Do we need to come down a little bit? Let's take a look. Maybe come down just a little bit, I think. What do you guys think? Alright, I think we'll go with right there. Snug that down. Alright, so we could tighten down these brackets as well. I drilled a hole here and pushed the cord through, and took a rear view visor down, ran the wire down through here, through here, and then forward into the engine bay. So now we should be able to snap this all back together. This snaps on or slides under there. It snaps on. Then there's these two really long 8mm bolts. And then this just goes up. There's one 8 or 7mm bolt holding that on, and clip that on, and then we could start tightening everything down. Like I said, there is a pre-run wire already on this side, under here supposedly, but I didn't want to take the whole light apart, just to switch it around so it said rigid right side up, and I needed to run a secondary wire anyway for the backlight, so I just went ahead, kept it on that side, and ran it down on here. It was a few extra steps to take all this apart and run the wiring into the engine bay, but I was going to have to do that regardless. Now we're doing these light wiring here. I was just going to cut this wire harness from the Diode Dynamics and reuse the wires, but this is only going to be 2 wires, and we need 3. So I could just cut these, splice the power and the ground in there, and then run the third wire for the backup light. But since I got to pull these wires through anyway, or since I would have to end up pulling a wire through anyway, I went ahead, just taped some wires. I'm going to use this blue as the white line to connect the connect the backlighting, and then just the red and black. So I'm going to just, I got that taped on there so I could just pull that through. The 3 wires on this side for this pod light. We've pulled them over here. We're going to connect them to our 3 wires from this pod light. So we can pull this whole Diode Dynamics harness out of here. We disconnect the ground, but we can pull that whole thing out. So I have that whole light kit. I said it's an awesome light kit, so maybe we'll give that away to somebody. If you're interested, let me know. Maybe I'll do another quick giveaway or something and give away these Diode Dynamic. It feels weird doing a video about rigid lights but giving away Diode Dynamic lights, but yeah, those are the ones we had on there. They're awesome lights, nothing against them, like I said, but we're going all rigid lights with the build now, so we have those. If you're interested in them, let me know. They're pretty awesome lights. I'll pull the wiring harness out completely because we're going to use all new wiring. Anyway, so yeah, we'll have that whole thing. So maybe I'll set up some type of little giveaway and give those away. Those are actually sent to me by Diode Dynamics to check out, test out. So thank you to them. That's why I don't feel right just selling them. It feels wrong to just take them off and leave them sit and not do anything with them, but it also feels wrong to sell them when I didn't even buy them in the first place. So they were given to me to test out and check out. Maybe we'll work out something with one of you guys. Let me know if you're interested, and we'll figure out some way to give those away, give them to somebody that's going to put them to good use instead of them sitting around in here. So now we got preliminary wiring run. Got the first light set up, or we got the mount on the first light, and then this is going to mount on, if you guessed bodyguard, you would be correct. We have one last bodyguard part to install. So once this piece is back on here, this will sit here, and the 2 bolts that hold these cowls together will go down there, and then we have these 3 spots where we could put the lights. So we could actually put, if we had smaller lights, we could put them a series of lights up here, but we just have the 1 light, so we'll figure out which spot that looks best in, and then that just use the regular mount for the light. We'll just mount on there. Like I say, we could put it in any of the spots, or if you had 2 smaller lights, you could put them on both on there. But see, these Diode Dynamics probably could fit 2 of them on there. But yeah, that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting this wired up so we could pull all the wiring nice and tight and cleaned up, and then we could put these cowls down and put the brackets on there and the lights. We got that wiring run where it's going to go. We can go ahead and pop this bad boy back down on there. Now normally you just put the 2 bolts in there, but before we do that, we're going to grab our bodyguard mount. This side fits right over the antenna. Tighten these 2 down. I'm definitely getting tired. I can't find anything tonight. Once we get these mounted, We're gonna call it at night and take care of the wiring tomorrow. So now that we got our bracket on there, we could put our light where we want it. So we could do the outside, inside, or the middle, and it's going to fit perfectly, but I think we'll stick with the middle. See how that works out for us. One thing to note, this probably be easier to mount the light first and then put the bracket down instead of having to try to squeeze your fingers in here. But we haven't done the things the easy way yet, so why should we start now? Alright, so we got one light on. Put our antenna. Instead of the square ditch lights, now we got these round ones. Kind of go match together with our circular headlights. So they actually got a pretty cool setup how their mounts work. Drop the bolts in there. Then there's these little pieces that snap in. Well, just kind of fit snug in there. Then we take some Allen screws. Screw them in there, and that is definitely going to keeps our bolts in there. Somewhere along the lines, I lost one of these little screws. That's going to take forever to find. Well, while I'm looking for that, we can put our mount in here. Just going to slide in there. Then we got there's a washer and a screw. Goes through on the side. And we'll tighten into our bolt. Let me find my Allen key. Snug that up. Then we got bolt. It's got the squared off base. That'll fit into the square there. Then it's just going to go into our bodyguard bracket. And washer, lock washer, and then nut. I gotta find my lock washer that I dropped. Alright, so I have a lock washer to find and the little Allen screw to find. I'm about to give up for the night. So I have to also my son gets off work right about now. They close up. So I got to go pick him up. So I'm just going to snug this up, put this on here, just stick the wire down in there, kind of get it into position, snug all this down so I can go drive and pick him up. And then I'm calling it a night. It has been a long day. We finished up the rear lift this morning. Alright, good morning guys. I'm back at it again. Take it a little bit slow this morning and just go through and cleaning up the mess I have out here. I was losing stuff last night. I got crap just thrown all over the place. I need to clean up a bit and before I get started back. So last night I finished getting the lights posted or mounted, and then I had to take off and pick up my son. The two things I realized last night, well, first, I got really lucky because I drove there and back with my drill bits and drill on the roof. So, yeah, something you want to check for before you go driving off. And secondly, I left the roof off and realized it was cold last night when I left. But one thing I did find out is the heater on this thing is awesome. I thought it was going to melt the dashboard, how hot it got and how much it was blowing. But with these front panels off and the cold wind blowing in, the top of my head still got cold, but the rest of me stayed warm. So that was pretty awesome. But yeah, like I said, I would go through. I started a little bit already, but I got a crap ton of cleaning up to do. Get my tools reorganized, put everything back away before continuing on. Now, amazingly, I actually found the little hex screw I couldn't find last night to go in here. So there is a pre-run wire back to here, and I was thinking about using that. It's not very conveniently placed. It's kind of up under here. You pretty much have to remove this whole panel to be able to do anything with it, and in order to take that apart, you got to take this. You got to take a bunch of stuff apart to take that panel off, and it's not really something I'm gonna do. Plus, I have some more wire. I have a bunch of wiring underneath I still need to clean up, so I'm going to just run a new wire to the front. From back here. It's just going to be one wire. The power wire. I should be able to find two grounds back here, and so we can close this up. We don't even need to be back here. So I run wire over from this one over to that one, and then from that one forward. So to get started, I'll go ahead, take this out, and it's just a matter of loosening these bolts. All right, so pretty simple mount. Just have the mount that's attached. And drop our nut in there, close that, and then we just got a 10mm little bolt that'll wrench into that. We look inside the bumper here. There's a little, I don't know how well you can see that. Let me stick my finger behind there. You see like the flesh there. There's a whole bar where you could put that mounting hardware through, and then you could adjust it forward or back however you need to. So I'll just put that in there, put that bolt through there, tighten that up, and we should be good to go. And there we go, it's mounted in there. That's should be far enough back. Then I'll go ahead, splice. These are some really thin wires, but splice some wires, run over to that side, and we'll tie in there, and then to the wiring that we're going to run to the front. So I knew saving some of that wiring, some of the longer wires that I had trimmed off of the when I cut the ends off the rock lights would come in handy one day. So that's turns out this is perfect wire for that. So just splice that in. I'll go ahead, tape that up, run that over. We have this side all wired in. I just have everything running, both sides running into these two wires. The red, I'm going to go ahead, run all the way up to the front to the upfitter switch, and black, I'm just going to find somewhere to ground that down underneath here. Put this back together, get that wiring run, and we'll see how it looks. So I ran the wire all the way forward, which I had to go through and clean up some of this wiring anyway, because I had run a couple that I hadn't tied up or anything yet. I was waiting until I knew I was done, hopefully, with running wires to the back. So that's why I didn't mind running another one, since I knew I had to clean it up anyway. And it's easier to just go ahead and do that than pull that paneling off and tap into the one pre-run wire. So I got this all cleaned up, running forward, and then have this wire, the red wire, coming up here. Oops. So I just have the red wire coming up here, and that's going to connect to this blue and orange, which is going to be switch number 5. Switch number 6 is the train horn. Switch number 5 is going to be the backup lights. Then one thing I'm changing, not really changing, I'm keeping switch 2 is the rock lights still, but I'm going to tap into that with the backup lights, or the backlights for these. So whenever I run the rock lights, the backlighting for the pod lights and the light bar will also come on. So that'll be all on switch 2. Switch 1 is going to be the light bar itself, and then switch 3 will be the pod lights still. So that's going to remain switch 3. Then switch 4 is going to be all the lights on the bumper. Now I'm waiting on those lights to come in. I screwed up when I ordered, because you could purchase the set of 2, or you could purchase the lights individually, and I selected the individual lights instead of the packs of 2. So I was expecting 6 lights to show up, and 3 showed up. There's 2 spotlights, which are the ones that are in the back, then 2 more spotlights for the front, and then 2 floodlights for the front. So, and I'm just going to have those all, the front ones all on one switch. So that'll be switch 4. I said switch 5 is the backup, switch 6 is the train horn. So when I first got this, I thought there was no way I was going to use all 6 of those upfitter switches, and I've already got them. I've already got them used. I could actually use more if I had them, because instead of just having the compressor running whenever the car starts, I could put that on a switch as well. I could separate these lights out, so I have the floodlights on one switch and the spotlights on a separate switch. And then I could also do one more switch where I had the backlighting set to one switch. So I didn't think I would use 6 switches, much less 9 I could use. But yeah, 6 will work. We'll get that all tied in. Like I said, I'll get this wired up. The backlights, just connecting that red wire to this blue and orange. Then these floodlights, wiring these together. This blue wire is the same as the white wire. It's just the white wire from that side. I just happen to have a blue line to run over. So these are getting all spliced together. Like I said, the ground will go to ground. Red, the power will go to the number 3 switch, and the blue or white will go tie into the number 2 switch, which is also the rock lights. So I get this all cleaned up. I've been moving super slow all day today, cleaning as I go. I cleaned quite a bit before I even got started, but just going through, double checking, making sure everything's tight. wrapping up anything that needs to be wrapped up and just going through nice and slow, not trying to rush today. Just making sure everything's on there secured, double checking torques and everything, and then running the wires and cleaning stuff up as I go. Getting everything cleaned up in here, still tying stuff back. Between all the wiring I've run and cleaned up, this is, where to go? This is my second roll of electrical tape, and I barely got any left on this. I still got more, but I've gone through quite a bit cleaning things up. So now, funny thing is, I have one switch wire left, which is this brown one, which goes to switch number 4. And like I said, I'm running that to these front bumpers. So I just need to connect one wire to run to the front. You know, it's only that far. So funny enough, this is going to be the one wire that I actually tap into one of the other non-powered pre-run wires. Here, just like you have all these wires that go to the switch, you also have all these wires down here which go to different areas. One goes to the purple, goes to the front by the grill. These other two, I believe, go back behind the glove box, and then from there you can connect it to either the overhead, the wire that's run for the overhead, or the one that's run for the cargo area. So those are all the pre-run wires, and you'd think since I put a light bar on top I would have used that one, but no, I didn't. I ended up running my own wires for that. Or since I ran a couple of different wires to the back for the train horn and for the lights back there, I would have used one of the pre-run, but I haven't. And so the one pre-run that I'm going to actually use is just the one to the grill, and that just goes to right here. It's your purple and green wire. But I'm going to go ahead, connect this brown wire to the purple and green wire right there. So then that's going to connect our switch to this wire. And then when the lights come in, I won't have to mess with anything back there. I could get everything secure, get that all finished. And so then when I put these lights, I just have to find a ground and then run power to here. And then that's it. Yeah, I just thought it was funny that of all the possible pre-run wires I could tap into, the one I end up tapping into is the one that only run, you know, a foot. And I already ran all the other ones. But anyway, just gonna finish cleaning this up. These lights, I just did a look, you know, before I started securing everything and tightening everything down and cleaning up the wiring and everything. I did test to make sure that everything worked, and these lights are crazy. I'm gonna wait till it gets dark to show you, but these are insane. I'm pretty sure I could see into the future when I turn these on. I could just see straight through this wall. That's how bright these things are. But we'll wait till it gets a little bit darker. I'll finish cleaning everything up, and then once it gets dark, we'll take a trip outside and see just how bright these things are. Alright, here we are at night. We got the headlights on. We got the backlighting on. We got the rock lights on. So you see, it doesn't really shine. The backlighting, it doesn't really project light anywhere. It's just lights up. It's kind of more of a hey, look at me type lighting, like with the rock lights and everything. So this is what it looks like. Yeah, this camera is much better with low light than the GoPro, so here's what we're looking like. We got the rock lights spotlighting that BDS logo right there and the wheel well. The seat. And you see the rigid lights, the backlighting there. Now if we're going to be backing up, we could turn our backup lights on. And that gives us plenty of light behind us. We could turn our ditch lights on. That lights things up pretty good. We could turn on our floodlights and our spotlights and the bumper on. And then we could turn our light bar on. And we've got crazy amount of light from these. The lighting definitely works. Yeah, I really like the look with the rock lights lit up and the backlighting on those lights there. It's just an awesome look, I think. Alright, so I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.